It's the next day now. It's about 6:30 in the morning in Japan, and sunrise is at 7. And this is part of my morning routine every day. So this is Nudgebook here. It's this color I call Imperial Purple. And let me show you the inside. So every morning I fill in 3 or 4 things that I want to do, goals I set for myself for body, mind, value, spirit, and then something else. Nudge is something that appears a lot on here. So you see the days. First I fill in body, mind, values, an important thing, so I have a different color for that. So for example, in this week I had industry, and then I write it up at the top here, and then I write down a definition of industry in my mind. And then at the end of every day, I rate on a scale of 1 to 3 how I did, and that kind of keeps track and keeps me focused on what I'm doing good at or what I need to improve on. So for example, exercise was pretty much perfect this week. Reading the Iliad was pretty much also perfect this week. Industry was 14 out of 18 overall, which was great. And then I've been working on Nudge for the whole week. So this is what I do every day. This is part of the daily reminders that you set in the morning. You set the goals, these 3-4 things, and then get focused on doing those. So how do I decide these things? How do I know what I want to do and know what industry is or what value or what I want to follow? So let me go back to the planning part. That's the beginning of the book. So at first we set a few things like body, some important things for your health and body overall. Mind, this is intellectual pursuits. So for me, I have a reading list, books I want to read this year, learning list, things I want to learn, and teaching list, things I want to teach. And then I set the values I have for myself. These are the values that I'm trying to aspire by within the next 6 months, and the definitions I've written for those. This idea comes pretty much from Benjamin Franklin as well. And then I spend a bit of time trying to figure out what my priorities are for body, mind, spirit in the next 6 months or so. That's what it looks like. And then beyond that, I set another set of priorities for myself, for my circle of influence, and then for the people I don't know, or the people who may be affected by my work or my career, my contributions to the community. And then in this box here, I kind of prioritize these. This is something similar to the 7 successful habits, or 7 habits of successful people. On the next page, I have what I call daily difference makers. These are things that I try to live by each day, kind of like values, but really more like creeds. Never take the escalator when there are stairs. Consume based on investment, not on convenience. Always look both ways, even when not crossing the street. This just means to have an open perspective, don't hold any assumptions. So these are things that really mean a lot to me. Might not mean anything to somebody who's reading it, but they're reminders for me. I know exactly what they mean and what I intend by them when I take a look at them. Next, this is also really, really important. This is a list of people who motivate or inspire me, whether they know it or not. So I've set it up into 3 circles: body, mind, values, and then within those, private, personal, and professional. So for example, this guy, Marco, the man is just a man with all capital letters. You can see him on Instagram and know what I'm talking about. So I'm inspired by his discipline and commitment to his self, to his health, to his body. Rachel is a high school friend we've been in touch with over the years. I'm inspired by her grit and her commitment to family. Jeff was pretty much my first real boss at the University of Virginia. I learned a lot from him, especially about dignity and a little bit about being goofy, but also still being very professional. AJ is somebody who's in Tokyo, a guy I met in Tsuyama. I learned a lot from him about risk and commitment to his dream. He's becoming pretty famous here in Japan as an actor and doing spots on television. And in fact, we just saw him on TV yesterday for his AC Japan commercial. And my grandmother passed away. That's Gamma. Pretty much nobody living or in heaven has taught me more about courage and love than her. So that's this what I call companion cavalry, the people near me, the people I stay in touch with online, who inspire and motivate me in different ways. This is called Peer in the Future. This is basically a contract that you write for yourself, just kind of acknowledging what this task is, what challenges you face in life, and what you want to achieve. So you set the long-term goal. For me, doing a half marathon in an hour 30, retaking the JLPT test, doing N2 a little bit better than I did it before, and then having more of a value-centric career, because I spend 9 to 10 hours a day at work, so that's important. And then he comes back into the entry list. So the whole setup part took me about 6 or 8 hours to kind of plan everything here, to get focused, to think about who I am, who I want to be, and how I'm going to get there. And then these entry pages are really the way I'm going to get there. And then in the back, we have a few more different pages going on, some journal pages to keep track of notes you have related to body, mind, and spirit. And then some blank pages to fill in designs or diagrams, or, be a little bit artistic. Also some regular line pages. I keep track of my exercise here and other notes. My exercise plan is pretty much just P90X with some variations, some things that I like to do, some things I know work for me. And then in the back, there's a nice pocket to keep track of papers or any other notes that you want to keep. So that's pretty much what Nudgebook is and how to use it. I hope you're going to be using it in a similar way to me, or I hope you'll share how you use it, and we can learn something from each other.